Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my boyfriend Kyle.
Hi.
We are both really sick. This is his first time visiting, and the last 2 days we've been really sick, and he actually leaves. I have to take him to the airport in about 15 minutes. So
Cutting it close.
Yeah, we really pushed this off to the end, but we spent a lot of time hanging out and just like not being on our phones, but I still really wanted to film something, but y'all are gonna just get this.
You get what you get.
Yeah, this is what's happening. So we're gonna do our best. I guess the first question is, we're like a little bit more background on how we met. I don't want to tell the full story because I want to do like a whole video on our story because it would take way longer.
I was about to say it would take more than 15 minutes.
Yeah, it would take way longer than 15 minutes. But we could just, why don't you tell them how you ended up on the cruise ship?
Yeah. So I was actually not going on the cruise. I was not going to this wedding. I had like 8 weddings this past year, and this was the last one. So I decided like 8 months ago I wasn't going to this one. And then my friend Jamie, he continued to reach out to me last minute because his wife couldn't make it. And he's like, dude, what do I have to do to twist your arm to come on this ship? And finally I gave in. And within the first day, I met you. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so then I knew the bride more so, I knew the bride and groom, and this was a wedding I had planned to go to, but actually the girl I was rooming with backed out 2 days before, so I ended up going there alone. And obviously I knew my friends were going there, but I wasn't rooming with anyone, which I think was perfect because I got to spend like so much more time with you and getting to know you, which I wouldn't have had if I had a roommate, because I would have been like spending time with her.
Sure.
So so we met on the cruise. We met the first day. He was talking to my friend Rocky. The bride and groom had everybody meet at a place on the ship, and I like walked in and went to go say hi to my friend Rocky, and she was talking to Kyle, and he was wearing a shirt that said prayer is a lifestyle, which definitely caught my attention. And I introduced myself and I asked what they were talking about, and he's like, oh, we're talking about Jesus. And I just said, oh, I love talking about Jesus.
And then walked away.
And then I just walked away.
Just left.
I feel like I have pretty good discernment, and I knew like that conversation was important. However, in that moment, you were definitely highlighted, and God like really put it on my heart, like I'm supposed to talk to you, I'm supposed to know you. It just wasn't the right time. And then we'll go through the rest of our story, but yeah, like a longer in-depth video with a lot more details. But then over the next few days, we really like got to know each other. Spent like every day, like probably like 10 hours a day talking with each other and hanging out. What things are you doing differently to past relationships?
Wow.
Everything.
Everything.
One big thing we decided, well, we definitely started off just as like friends and getting to know each other as friends. And then a big thing we decided is we didn't want to kiss. Even if we did get into a relationship, but we didn't want to kiss if we didn't have confirmation that we were going to get married. So that was a huge thing, just having that.
I think a really big thing was the amount of time we spent praying and really like giving it to the Lord.
Yeah.
To receive that confirmation, that clarity, that direction. And that's something that is super big with me and is also really big with you. It's just our surrender and obedience to the Lord. Which is totally different than any relationship I've ever been in.
I've never really been in a Christian relationship, as you guys know.
Yeah, and I haven't either. So that is definitely the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why we've been able to grow the way that we have. Really get to know each other and just it's wild how on the same page we are.
Yeah. And I think that's like an analogy that people give a lot, is when you're focused on God, the triangle, what is it? So
Yep.
you do it, because I have never actually said it out loud.
So you have the wife and the husband and God. And basically when you guys are looking at each other, you're so far apart, you're at the corners. But if you're staying locked in on God, you're gonna meet at the top where God is, and you're gonna be closer than ever. But once you stop looking,
closer than ever.
Right.
versus down here.
So once you stop looking at God though and you start looking at each other, you come back down and now you're this far away. So even though it feels like you're closer because you're looking at each other, you're actually farther away than you will be if your eyes are set on God.
Yeah. So I think that's a huge thing, was both of us were really focused on God.
Yeah.
And almost all of our conversations, I would say 95% of what we were talking about was Jesus.
Yeah,
And like
easy
stuff with that. So that was like a huge difference, and I think that's what really allowed us to get so close so fast, because we were talking about all these things. And then once he did ask me to be his girlfriend, I just prayed and asked that God would give us questions, intentional questions of what we should be asking before we like were apart again. And so we just talked about everything.
Got deep.
Everything.
Got deep.
And we can do a whole video on like questions you should like be asking people, or just ideas of what you guys can talk about, because yeah, we went over everything. Why don't you I want to do a whole video about our love story in like our singleness as well, and kind of like what we did in our singleness that led us together. But why don't you give a brief history of like where you were at the last couple of years? Like, were you dating? Were you single? Were you looking for anything?
Yeah, no, so about 2 years ago I came to Christ, and before that I was on like the pursuit of like trying to find fulfillment and happiness and joy in other things, and that's just a trap, because you're not going to, not truly. So before Jesus 2 years ago, I was dating and I was trying to fill, I guess, that need. But then I got encountered by Jesus. I was an atheist my whole life. And then 2 years ago, I got encountered by Jesus, and it changed everything for me. He basically filled that void that I was trying to fill with everything else. He made me whole and new. And I just realized there's nothing more important, nothing more powerful than Jesus and building that relationship with him. So over the last 2 years, he basically told me, you're done with traveling, you're done with business, you're done with relationships, you're done with it all, and you're gonna move back home with mom and dad and build a foundation in me, right? In Jesus. So that's what I did. Literally the last 2 years, no relationships, no business, barely traveled. I just built a relationship with Jesus, and it was amazing. And I found that fulfillment that I was looking for, and like became whole. And it was great. But when I did start this journey with him, I told him, I said, when you know I'm ready and my foundation is concrete, open the doorway for business again, open the doorway for relationships again. And then probably 4 months ago, 6 months ago maybe, it felt like that door was open. And it was like, okay, wow. I probably would have said a year ago I was ready, but he knows best. And he opened that doorway. Next thing you know, there's insurance. I'm now an independent broker within insurance, right? Life insurance. So that opened up, that fell on my lap. And then next thing you know, I'm going on this cruise and I'm meeting you. And that door opened up too. So it was just so cool. Within like a 2 month span, both of those opened up at the same time. And God just provided in like such a beautiful way. So yeah.
So good. And he actually did try dating apps as well, which we didn't talk about that, but it's funny.
Did not work.
It's funny, like both of our, like I did a whole dating apps video and stuff, probably around the same time you were trying to look at them too.
Probably, yeah.
But we'll get into that in like a more in-depth. This kind of like wraps into that, like where were you both in your walk with God when you met? So, I mean, like you just said, he was 2 years deep. Into like a solid foundation, doing like ministry work in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so I mean literally Jesus was just everything, and that's all I did. I just built my relationship with him. But yeah, he got me into ministry. I run a ministry called Love Expressed, host retreats, whole bunch of stuff like that. It's incredible, you know, when you're actually being his hands and feet. There's nothing like it. And you know, going on mission trips, Turkey and Gary, West Virginia, stuff like that. So yeah, where was I when we met? Man, I was I mean, where I am today. Just so in love with Jesus.
No, literally, that's how I would describe him. He's so in love with Jesus, loved talking to everybody about Jesus.
So good.
Literally, the second day he came, no, it was the third day. It was at like, all of us were hanging out and I hadn't seen him all day, and then he comes walking up at like 2 p.m. So we were all hanging out and he's just like hyped. And he's like, I just had a 2-hour conversation with a Jehovah's Witness. We talked to him about Jesus, went over scripture. You could just tell like he loved Jesus so much.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Where I was at is like, I mean, obviously it's more documented so you guys can see. I feel like just really had a good foundation with Jesus, really good with being alone, and just really leaning on Jesus for everything. So I feel like my foundation was pretty solid as well.
Definitely.
But also like hungry for that next step in my relationship with God, and just getting even closer, and like meeting you definitely brought that out and like brought me so much closer. And I think that's a huge question to ask when you start dating, is how does this person make you more like Jesus, or how does this person make you want to pursue God more? How does this person make you better? Those are really good questions to ponder.
Really good questions. Really good.
Why did you get into this relationship so fast?
Why not? Well, you actually said something in the beginning, and you said, when you know God, God will make it known. And that just stuck with me because it's so true. Not knowing God before, I never really knew. It was just like, oh, this kind of looks good, sounds good, maybe this is like something that, might work.
Yeah.
But like with you, being so centered on Christ and like our relationships with him, and like when we came together, like Holy Spirit just brought us together so quickly, so powerfully.
Seriously.
So I think that's like the big difference. It was just like, we prayed so much, we gave it all to him, we surrendered to him, we asked him to give us clarity and confirmation, and he did.
Yeah.
Like in a couple days.
Yeah.
Which was so wild.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the past when I thought in all my worldly relationships, like there was 2 in particular where I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get married to this person, and now reflecting back, I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? But both of those experiences were fully based on my flesh and what I was experiencing emotionally in those moments, which we know we can't really rely on our emotions for those kind of things, or our flesh. Right. And so the huge thing that was different about this was it wasn't emotional, like an emotional high or low.
Right.
It was just so steady, peaceful. Yeah, exactly. Prayed about everything. The whole dating thing is like, oh yeah, let's like talk for 3 months before we even start dating. It's like, why don't you just get into a committed relationship and go from there?
Right.
And he was very intentional about telling me where he was at and what he wanted. And yeah, if you're dating intentionally, like we're dating to get married, not just to like hang out and like feel it out, I guess,
I mean, we're dating to evaluate.
Yeah.
Right, and that's when it comes to dating, dating's not biblical. Right, you date to evaluate the other person, to see if there's somebody that you can actually live your life with, that you want to actually live your life with, not just to date.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, being intentional with it, it brings a lot of clarity.
Yeah, totally. Because right now I feel like a lot of people just date just to date.
Just to date.
Or to not be lonely, or to have somebody there. And since we were both at a point where we didn't need that or want it, and we both knew like the only reason why we would date is if we actually saw us getting married. So the reason why it was so fast is because God gave us that clarity, and so much surrender, and just allowing not to get in our heads about things, and just really surrendering and praying about everything.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite thing about each other?
You want to say it in the count of 3?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
He loves
for
Jesus.
Not scripted, not planned. I just knew she'd say that about me, and that's 100% what I think about her.
And that should be everybody's favorite thing.
Yeah.
For sure. But if we're going to go outside of our relationships for Jesus,
Okay.
what would you say?
Outside of Jesus, I would say I love your. It's funny because it comes from Jesus. It all comes from Jesus.
we can say something that comes from Jesus too.
Okay.
It's just not your relationship with Jesus.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about mine and it was like,
yeah, because I was gonna say your
Jesus
heart,
related.
but like he gave you your heart, you
Yeah.
know, and he renews that. But like just like how caring you are, how loving you are, how just like committed you are, where it's like everything you want to do is like from the very beginning, like honoring your future husband, which was a big thing where it was like, well, not even gonna kiss or anything like that because you want to honor your future husband.
Yeah.
You know, and that was just incredible when I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I've never heard that before, right?
Well,
so that was
you
really
guys
cool.
know.
Right.
That's something I've talked about, especially just like twisting your perception of things and like instead of thinking of refraining from intimacy with people or refraining from dating people as just restraint, instead looking at it as I'm doing this to honor my future and to have the least amount of like romantic history before going into that relationship. And that is something like now being in this position, I'm so happy that he refrained.
Yeah.
Even though he may have not felt like he was honoring me or that was his intention, like the fact that you haven't dated or anything. And even when you did start doing dating apps, you never like kissed any of them.
Right.
And then the same for me. And then my answer, my favorite thing about you is like, dang it, I was gonna say it's love for Jesus and I already said it. Your, I think your boldness in sharing Jesus with others. I've never seen it like everywhere we go. He is telling someone his testimony or telling someone about Jesus. He just like really is great with evangelism and just so bold and sharing and so confident in it, not trying to hide any part of it. And I love that you're so easygoing and such a hard worker and caring. I could go on forever.
We could do a whole video on this one.
That would be
Might
like
be the longest video.
That would be like the worst thing to watch. Like two people going back and forth saying what they love about each other.
Alright, we'll spare you guys. We won't do it.
Yeah. A lot of people are asking about intimacy, kissing, boundaries. I think we should just do a whole video on that because like I think we have a lot to say on it. And we have more praying to do on it as well.
Yeah.
How did you know that he was the one, or is he the one?
Am I?
You are.
Oh, really?
Yeah. First time I'm telling you.
Never heard this one.
I actually didn't really believe in the one
Right.
before I met you, really. I mean, I used to. And then I was just like, maybe not so much. I believe you choose the one, and then you choose them for the rest of your life. But in this instance, after the story, I'm like, how could there be anyone else? I don't know. But like he was saying, is I don't know that he's the one, but God knows. And if I know God, then God will make it known. And I think that just all ties back to the verse of lean not on your own understanding. I would never want to depend on myself to pick my husband. I really wouldn't. Because I'm imperfect and fleshly, but if like God wants to pick my husband,
Yeah, he knows best.
go for it.
Yeah.
And he did. And I think that is how I really knew he was the guy I wanted to marry, because God gave me that peace. And that's all it was. There was just so much peace about it, no confusion. And the list, ladies, I went back home and looked at my list.
Wild.
I had 49, it's 3 pages. I had 49 things on it. I read it when I got home and he was everything, every 49 thing and more. Things that I like whispered under my breath and said I wanted, but didn't write down, he still was. Like simple things like being a handyman, being able to fix things.
Well, I mean, like you said, when you know God, he makes it known. And that is so true. It was probably within like the first, honestly, like by that 3rd day, I was like, dang, I'm in trouble. Like, because I just knew. And You know, I mean, really, if you just surrender yourself to Jesus and you just pray on it and you really like take the time to listen and to be patient and to trust him fully, like he makes all things clear. Like all things clear, and he fills you with peace if it's according to his will. If it's something that he wants for you, you're going to be filled with peace. If it's not, then you're not going to be filled with peace. You're going to have stress or anxiety or turmoil or anything. Like with you, there was nothing but peace, you know, throughout it all. And like, it was so cool. I loved it. And from that, I just knew that you were somebody that was put in my life for a reason. And you were somebody that after more prayer, after more time spent with you, I would know exactly what that reason was, right? Because, I mean, at day 3, it was probably like, well, maybe we're just gonna be really good friends or something more. Like, I didn't want to, like, jump the gun, you know? But at the same time, it was just so much peace throughout it all. And then by the end of the trip, it was clear.
Yeah, it's a great story. I can't wait to tell it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Hopefully we won't be sick when we're telling it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I feel like I'm sweating up a storm right now.
Are you sweating?
Oh, I'm sweating.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's a ton more great questions. Some people are asking about us getting married a lot, or like, when are we gonna get married? How long till the wedding? All that stuff. So I say we would probably get married in the next year and a half. Probably more on the shorter side, but somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we both are at a point where we just, I mean, by day 7, we both knew that we were gonna get married. Which is
And
insane.
then he rested.
And then he rested. But yeah, so that's super exciting. I think that is, what was I gonna say? Totally forgot what I was gonna say. Brain
blast. If you know what that's from, drop it in the comments.
Oh,
I want to
look
see.
at
Yeah, I
you.
got this. I saw a couple of your videos. If you know what that's from, I want to see who knows what that's from.
Okay, I remember what I was gonna say.
See, brain blast. It works. It works.
So, like I said, it was by the 7th or 8th day, we knew that we were gonna get married, and I think that just goes, and like the fact that we're even like talking about marriage and all that stuff, it's literally only because of God. Because if I got to choose my timeline, I probably would have wanted to like date for a year or like
At least.
dated 6 months and then talked about like engagement and marriage, or like dated for a year and then maybe get married the next year, so like 2 years. And that's how I just know like this isn't me orchestrating it or me forcing anything. It really is just God, and just knowing like we can get married within a year and just have peace about that. And it's like, well, okay, cool. Great.
It's beautiful.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Okay, we are running late from the airport, of course.
We are. I'm
Good
not
thing
ready
I
to
built
leave.
in.
Can we answer one more? I saw it.
What?
It said chocolate or candy. Somebody asked about chocolate or
Of course
candy.
you're going to answer this.
Yeah, what would you say?
I would say chocolate.
This is why I love her.
And you would say.
What would I say?
He would say chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
He loves chocolate.
A little bit of a chocoholic. So whoever asked that question, that's a good one. Chocolate all the way.
All right, go home and take care of all your cavities.
I had to go there.
I'm sorry, that was rude.
Yeah, unbelievable.
We were ending on such a good note,
So strong.
and now we're here.
Now I'm
What-
ready to leave.
What can what can we do? Bring it back up.
Maybe
we could sing them a song.
Oh, we're gonna create a band.
All right, what song do you want to sing?
It's called God Loves Us, but You Might Not.
All right, let's give them a little piece.
Alright. Your love is
It's
wild and crazy. It doesn't stop, it doesn't end. Your love is for me, it's not against me. It doesn't stop, it doesn't end. Greater than guilt, louder than shame. This reckless love could never be tamed. All right.
Anyway. Yeah, we're not singers, but
Wait, what?
we're not professional singers yet.
Exactly,
But
professional.
we will be. We're sick. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We're much better when we're not sick. Just don't ask us to sing when we're not sick. Okay, well, I'm so happy we got to sit down and film this. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Well, on that
Oh,
note,
we were so strong. Anyway, this was fun.
this was fun.
Yeah.
Welcome to my channel.
Glad to be here.
Okay, we gotta go.
Gotta go.
Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe.
We did so well.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.